I never believed in hauntings before the Harrington building. Volunteering for the restoration project on the old limestone structure, built 1897, seemed like the perfect opportunity. With my library science background, I was tasked with tackling the second-floor archive room, a vast, high-ceilinged space filled with empty wooden shelving and tall, dust-filmed windows. The original documents had been moved, but forgotten boxes of paperwork remained. Most volunteers avoided the archives, citing dust or boredom. But I sensed something else. Mrs. Avery, the 80-year-old local historian, had once mentioned the last archivist who worked here became peculiar before retiring. It happened on my 5th Saturday there, late October. I volunteered to stay late to finish sorting an interesting set of property dispute records from the 1920s. The building emptied after 4 p.m. Paulo, the project manager, reminded me to lock up when I was done. Alone, the building seemed to take on a different personality. Footsteps echoed, shadows deepened. The archive room's heavy oak door, with no visible lock, often stuck. I propped it open with a doorstop. I checked my watch at 5:47 p.m. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the room. I was examining a boundary dispute when the first anomaly occurred. The temperature plummeted sharply, my breath pluming. Then the door slammed shut with such force that dust rained from the ceiling. The doorstop skittered across the floor, stopping at my feet. My heart seized. Air pressure changes, I told myself. I went to the door. The handle wouldn't turn. It moved slightly, then stopped hard, as if something held it from the other side. Impossible. There was no lock. Hello, I called, my voice embarrassingly small. Is someone there? The door's stuck. No response. The temperature dropped further. I pressed my ear to the door. Nothing at first. Then soft, steady, patient breathing from the other side. I stumbled back, sweat breaking out despite the cold. Then the scratching started. Gentle at first, like fingernails exploring the wood grain. Then harder, more deliberate, tracing strange patterns, like symbols or letters I didn't recognize. Not the sound of someone trying to get in, but of communication. Frost began to form at the edges of the windows. I pulled out my phone. No service, though it had been fine earlier. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered, then steadied. The breathing ceased, replaced by more frantic scratching. I fumbled for my flashlight. When the light came back on, the papers on the central table had been rearranged into concentric circles, with a single document in the very center. Legs trembling, I approached the table. The central document was a personnel file from 1953. A photo showed a gaunt-faced man with hollow eyes. Harold Winters, Chief Archivist 1937 to 1954. Reason for termination, mental health leave. Attached note, found in archives after hours. Claims something trying to communicate through records. Refused to leave room. Had to be restrained. I dropped the paper. The scratching at the door stopped abruptly, replaced by rapping knuckles on the wood. 3 precise knocks. A pause. 3 more. A code. A request. I ran to the windows. They were painted shut decades ago. The knocking continued, varying in pattern. I grabbed the heavy brass paperweight from the table, went back to the door, and hammered the handle repeatedly until something inside shattered. The door swung open. I fell into the empty hallway. No one was there, but the air felt disturbed, and out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of a tall, thin figure turning the corner at the far end of the hall. When I looked directly, nothing. I fled the building, called Paolo, made up a family emergency. Word spread quickly. Someone found the broken handle. Someone else, the strange arrangement of papers. Mrs. Avery finally opened up about Harold Winters, about how he'd talked to empty air, insisting the building's history was communicating with him through the documents. No one had worked in the archives since.
Paulo reassigned-me to exterior painting.
Occasionally, I hear other volunteers talk about odd noises from the archive room, footsteps, rustling paper. They joke about the Harrington ghost, but they don't know about the scratching. It's been 3 weeks since I've been back in the building, but 2 nights ago, I woke at 3:17 a.m. to faint fingernails scratching on my bedroom door. The hallway was empty. Last night, 3 precise knocks on my front door. When I checked, a single yellowed page sat on my doormat, one of the property dispute documents I'd handled in the archives. At the bottom, in faint blue ink that hadn't been there before, was a message, "I am still cataloging. Join me. Tonight, I'm changing the locks, laying down salt lines, leaving lights and music on. But I know these measures are futile. Something found me in that archive room. It crossed the barrier between past and present. And part of me, beneath the terror, is horribly curious, wanting to understand what's trying to be communicated. The scratching is louder tonight. Maybe I'll answer."